interesting dream this week. It wasn't a very pleasant dream. There were some very dark forces in it, and they approached me. I remember there was a man and a woman, and they said, "Yes, we've been looking for you," and they came up to me and started doing some various shapes on the top of my head. And I wasn't going to stand for that. I could feel this power from Master just coming through and just boom, and just demolishing them. There was a focus of Shakti, focus of power, focus of the Guru's energy, of his blessings. It was him. And then they disappeared. I said some mantras, and I did various things, and they were gone. And I heard Master's voice, and he said, "You have that power. Only use it in that way when you need to." Now the thought came to my mind, we all have that power. We have the power to defeat ignorance, darkness, delusion, moods, bad habits, negativity, bad people. We have the power, but we become sort of, I don't know if I want to do it. And the power comes from God and Guru. The power to get up in the morning, or to eat properly, or to turn off the television, or whatever it is. We have that power. And Master showed that power to focus the energy and the concentration. You can focus it on some negativity in your life. You can focus it on going into samadhi. It's the same power, you just have to focus it right. And he showed how every one of our techniques is about focusing our energy. Hangsa is about focusing the point between the eyebrows, our energy. Om technique is about focus. Go inside yourself. Kriya is about focus in the spine. No chanting, focus in the heart. It's all about focus. And Master showed when he was giving his lectures how you focus that energy. Remember the story of the policeman that came up on the stage, and he had his back up against the wall, and he said, "Push, push, push harder. You can't push any harder. You can't push any harder." They pushed as hard as they could. And then with the focus of his Shakti, which we all have, he just, all of them fell off. Now see, this in my mind, you can do that to delusion. It doesn't have to be 6 burly policemen on the stage. You can do it to any delusion you have. And just get rid of them. And he demonstrated that. He demonstrated the focus of how chanting. He chanted with people, remember he focused. An hour and a half, the same chant, the same words, the same music, the same vibration. People were healed from that. Many people with various ailments, they were healed from the focus through in the heart. And he showed physically, he showed through the heart, he showed mentally through affirmations. That's why I love affirmations. He focused the mind, the same words repeated over and over and over. You can do an affirmation for an hour to really clear your mind, to get more clear. And so these things Guruji demonstrated how to focus. He showed how to focus with meditation, no? Meditation is not sort of wandering and looking at a watch. And we had a wonderful Kriya meditation yesterday. I know some of you live far away, but when you can come, some don't live far away actually. So I'm looking at the audience. So try to come. There was a good crowd there, but there was no movement and there was no sound. And I think that was the deepest people have gone in my mind for years. There was no movement. I said, don't move. Get your position and stay there. And we went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I think some people were in a breathless state. There was certainly a lot of depth in that room. So we're having them every week now, I've decided. if I'm alone, I'm alone. I don't care. But somebody will be in that temple every week for Kriya meditation, 7 to 9 in the morning. And that Master showed that too. Remember, he had his friend. He said, if we really pray and meditate deeply, Divine Mother is going to come to us. No, Krishna will come. And we're going to have a 6-hour meditation and Guru Purnima at the ashram as well. So his friend said, no, nobody's going to come. And he said, God, you're a non-believer. Really, nobody's coming. The master said, you sit with me. And he had it, they were just boys. He said, you sit and we're going to meditate all night. And now people think all night's a long time. Actually, it's not. When you think about it, we have 8-hour meditations. I mean, are you still alive? So it just seems to work. So all night, Prabhupada, remember, you would meditate all night, every night. And he still said, I still have not seen the Divine Mother. So he goes to his guru, Larry Mahashaya, and he says, would you help me? And Larry Mahashaya says, what can I do? You need to meditate more. And so he says, I can't do anything more. I meditate all night, every night. What more can I do? And so he says, Guruji, you must help me. Larry Mahashaya blesses him, and that night he goes into a deep state that he'd never seen before. This is where we want to go. So Master with his little friend who was a non-believer, they sat there, and Master, he said, suddenly he says, Krishna! I am seeing Krishna right now! And the other guy sleeps. And he says, wake up, it's Krishna. He says, I don't see anybody. And Master strikes him, and the boy goes into a vision of Krishna. Don't you want to have that vision of God? And he sees him. And he shows that through depth of meditation, through depth of prayer, even if you don't see anybody, you feel blessed. You walk away from there and you know something happened in that room. If you put your heart, your mind, your soul, give it to God, you know something. Sometimes you have a vision, sometimes you see the light, sometimes you go breathless, sometimes you hear the Om, sometimes you hear Master's voice, sometimes you feel a tap on the shoulder, and you know, something's happening in there. And so this is what happened. Remember the time Master in one of the long meditations at Christmas time, he saw the Divine Mother. And suddenly in meditation, he just is over. He just went with her. And he says, oh, you're so beautiful. And he just converses with her. And Matt Swamiji was there. And he said, we could hear one side of the conversation. Master said, oh, you're so beautiful, don't go. Please, don't go. The people's desires are pushing you away, so don't go, please. That's what happens. The desires come, and the thoughts, and then the visions go out the window. As soon as I want to do this, I want to. Nothing happens. That's what Master showed with the focus, the concentration, the deep, deep longing. I think we have to use Swamiji as our example. I remember one time in Italy, we had an adjoining wall. So Swamiji was living on one side, I was living on the other in the ashram. He was staying there, and I was living there full time. And I knew that, actually what it was, his meditation room was adjoining my bedroom. What good karma. And so I knew, I could hear every night Swamiji chanting. Every night. Typically it would be late, 11, 12, 1, 2. But, I would be knocked out by then. And then I'd hear the sweetest voice coming from the other side of the wall. And he'd just be talking to Divine Mother, and, voice cracking, and just, sometimes you didn't hear anything because it just the harmonium. He just was crying out. That's how I learned how to chant. I said, that's how you chant. He just had a conversation with God. It wasn't somebody never had pomp and circumstance. He was just Divine Mother's child, and he just talked to her. And I could hear the conversation from the other side of the wall. Now, of course, I just get up immediately. This happened most nights. I get up and I just meditate, and I just felt, I could feel what he felt, at least a little bit. And I would just think, that's where we have to go. In our devotion, in our focus, in our love, in our one-pointedness. And Master, he had various disciples, but there was one man who he was digging a hole. And Master heard later about him, and he just would dig, and he never even looked up, he just kept going deeper, 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 and Master heard about that. He said, that's how you find God. You don't look up, how far am I, what time is it, anything happening? He said, just go. Just keep going. Whatever it is, if it's your chanting, it's your meditation, your study, just go deeper, deeper, deeper. He loved the example of Durga Mata. She was very powerful. You have to realize, Master's disciples were powerhouses. So they were, I can't do it. Mata, she was in bed for 20 years. She served from her bed. Mata as well. They never let go. They just kept serving. And Master would call for Mata, and somebody else was in her room. And they picked up the phone and they said, oh, Master, she's not feeling so well today, maybe call back. You don't tell the Guru to call back. She hangs up and Mata, she says, who was that? And she says, oh, that was Guruji, and I told him you were. She said, get him on the phone. When he calls, you say yes and make it snappy. And she would energize, and she couldn't even stand up from her chair. She'd just be doing exercise from the chair. She wrote letters from the bed. 20 years she served her Guru from the bed. Now, most people here, they sleep from the bed, but she served her Guru from the bed. Whatever he wanted. And he said, she's never going to leave until I give the signal, because she is helping me. Same with Mata. I've made a bond with Divine Mother, a pact. She's not going to take them until I give the word. Isn't that a wonderful thing to keep in your mind? And so Guruji's, he's there. He's waiting, he's wanting. But Durga Mata, Master had her build a car. Hi Guru, it's good to see you. I'm just happy to be back with my family. So he had her building a car. And I heard something on Swamiji's, one of Swamiji's talks. Now, I'm a pretty strong person, but this really took me aback a little bit. He said, most women have the strength of men, but they differ. Can you pick that up? Can you move the couch? Can you do this? Can you do that? He said, most women have just about the same amount of strength, but I can't. Master didn't allow that. He said, you can, do it. And so Durga Mata would be, she was painting, like imagine painting this room, and the monks were there, and she was there. I mean, she was just like a man, and she walked like a man. She was like this. And that's what I loved about being at Ananda Village. All those people have been there for decades, and they're just like so solid, just ironclad. Nobody is going to move them off of the path. It's like iron. And so here Durga Mata, she was painting like, she just couldn't stop, and the monks were like, Master said, that's no way to paint. He said, look at her, that's how you should be painting. So that they put the energy, focus the energy. And remember I'll tell you another story. I mean, I got so many great stories on this topic. So then, what happens sometimes is the mind gets, I don't know, it goes up and down. I can't, I want to do it, I don't want to do it. So Jaya told this great story at Nanda Village. He said he got into a situation where every day there was sadhana at Hansa Mandir. Some of you have been to Hansa Mandir. I certainly went to the sadhanas there most days. And Jaya said that, sometimes he got headaches. I don't know what it's from, but he said, I know that if I walk to the temple, which is about half an hour in the morning for the meditation, the headaches always go away. So he said, that's what I'm going to do every day, regardless, as preventative. So he said, one day he got up and his head was hurting. You know, he went, I don't want to go. I need to go. I don't want to go. And you know, isn't this true? I don't want to go. And he said he worked himself out of the bed. I don't want to go. Got in the shower. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to go. I need to go. I don't want to go. He's getting dressed. I don't want to go. You know, he's getting his shoes on. I don't want to go. I need to go. I don't want to go. He's walking there all the way. I don't want to go. This is how deputies are, you know, up and down. I don't want to go. I need to go. I don't want to go. Once he finally got there, his headache was gone. He says, I like being here. You know, and isn't it so? Everybody, I don't know. Once it happens, you say, what was the problem? So you just need to keep moving in that direction. And I remember one time there was this group of us. I love to tell these stories. I'm not going to name the names, but the stories are good stories. And there were, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 of us. We were in one class, and I don't see anybody, maybe one, no, I don't see anybody in this group. So then everybody was saying, I mean, it was a very inspiring moment. And I mean, one of the most for me since I've been in India. And we were just talking about finding God, and you got to put everything into it, and you know, you can't go back, you just got to focus, and you know, everybody was going. And we were all discussing it, and then, you know, we all decided, it was almost like in blood, you know, we all decided that we were going to put our whole heart, we were going to be at the meditation, you know, we're going to go and every week we're going to be meditating together, long hours, and, you know, and I said, yeah, I was looking around, wow, really? And everybody said, yeah. So, of course, I'm going to, so the next week occurs. And we're at Beaten by 8. I go down to the temple and I look around, and we called ourselves the God Alone group. I mean, we were a group, you know, it wasn't this, it was a group of people. And I go and I look at that, and of course, I was alone. I was alone, and then somebody showed up an hour late, or like this, and you know, somebody else. Everybody had a long list of excuses, and I said, "This isn't God alone." I said, "I'm alone." I was there alone, and that's the thing. We say yes, 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 but you have to follow through. You have to actually get in the room. You know, it's not enough to, like an architect, you draw the pictures, but you have to build the building. And in the spiritual path particularly, you can't, I mean, I talk to so many people who have dreams and everything, I'm going to do this and yes, they can't just do one thing. Just aim for do one thing. Get into the room, or whatever it is. And you think about Swamiji, when he said it took so much energy for him to edit books. Now you can say, I wrote the book and it's over. Swamiji said sometimes 50 times. That's a lot of times. 50 times he'd go over and over and over and over till he felt, this is a book for Master. You know, you see people, one time, I don't feel like it anymore. You know, but you just think, anybody who's successful and is magnetic, a good runner or an athlete or an architect or whatever you're good at, you have to really apply yourself and go through it as many times as you have to. And I recall a time I put together, I don't see them here, but these Kriya books, the booklets. I've told this story to some of you, but it's worth repeating. And you know the ones, the booklets, Kriya and, you know, modern age and all. Jaya and I put those together. I mean, it took an enormous amount of energy. By the time the book was done, remember the first one, we went to the park near Beaten by 8 and with the camera. We just took whoever we could grab and put them in the park, took their picture and said, that's the cover. So the book came out, and a little booklet. I was just so happy with that book. I mean, I just can't tell you. I mean, I was waiting for years to get these Kriya booklets out. Finally, the first one comes, and I just was just like, came out. And then I get the word, Swamiji doesn't like the book. How can you not like the book? This is a beautiful book. I just couldn't believe he didn't like the book. Shivani keeps writing back, Swamiji does not like the book. And I just said, well, how could you not like the book? And she said, he doesn't like the cover. Why is Devendra on the cover? I said, he's meditating. It's a meditation book. So I write Swamiji a long, you know how you go. You're just covering yourself. All the excuses, all the reasons why it's a great book. It took so long. It took forever to edit. Jaya did this part. I was a long, no response. No response for weeks. And I kept wondering, he's busy, he's not giving me a response. Well, of course, I was wrong. So the next letter I wrote was, after it came to me, and I said, Swamiji, I want to put the cover that's right on the book. Because I said, they already did 2,000 books, it costs so much, on and on. And I said, can you choose from these 4 covers for us? And if you don't like any of them, I'll get another cover. They were beautiful covers, Master, Swamiji, within 2 minutes. No exaggeration. Within 2 minutes, he wrote me back and said, if you were to ask me, I would choose the second one. I wrote back, it's on. Boy, did I learn something there. We go on and on and on with the excuses. Just do the work. Get it done. You know what it takes. And as you do that, you find there's more energy, there's more strength. And so for anything that we're doing, if you want to go deep into chanting, you got to chant. Get a harmonium. You have to chant a lot to go deep into chanting. It's no joke. It's not the one chant a month. It's like you got to really chant to break through with chanting. If you want to, clear your mind, you have to do a lot of affirmations. It's not half-baked. It has to be affirmations regularly. If you want to be more energetic and magnetic, you got to get outside with energization. Nobody can energize your body for you. You have to put the energy into it. If you want to meditate and go deep, you got to put the time in. There's no way out. I used to go on Friday nights in LA, and I was a beginner. I was getting the lessons. I wasn't even at Ananda yet. I didn't know. I was like 20 years old. And I read Master said, every week do a long meditation. Everything he said, I was like, I'm going to do that. I was intense. I think I'm intense now. Back then I was really intense. I said, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. So I fasted on Fridays, no food. And I would drive over to the meditations after work. That was about an hour-long drive. And they were meditating for 3 hours. And I sat, and I sat, and I didn't move. I loved it. I didn't even think I had Kriya. And I saw people with the boards, like my own board. I didn't know what that was, but I sat, and my stomach was, feed me, and I'm not going to move. You know what happened? I had a breakthrough. Once I had that breakthrough, I didn't care what happened. There was no going back. But every Friday I was there for 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. And every Friday I went deeper, deeper. And then at a certain point, door opened, I went through and I said, there's no going back for me. I don't care if I ever eat again. I don't care what happens. But it took the strength. And each one of us has that strength. But you have to apply it, you have to focus it. And as you focus it, you'll find that, wow, there's so many deeper levels than what I've been on the surface. And the last part for focusing your energy is watch your company. You hear what I'm saying? Watch your company. It can just pull you in all directions. And if Master told Bernard that if company you keep either gets you strongly on the path and keeps you going, or pulls you right off. The company that you keep. Because if the company is pulling you down, you're not going to meditate, you're not going to energize, you're not going to do yoga postures, you're not going to read, you're just going to be distracted. And then he said, always be in a company. This is what I want you to remember. Company of like-minded souls, devotees, like this. I mean, this is like wonderful. And Bernard said, well, sir, what if I don't have anybody to be with? Master's words were so beautiful. Am I not always with you? Which means, still you have to be with them. You can't say, he's always with me, and I'm here and I'm, you have to be with them. Just the other day, Devendra and I were coming over here from the house. Now we have a picture of Master, one of the masters in our car. And of course we have the car protector, we have Swamiji, we have everybody there. We were turning the corner to make a U-turn. I can't really describe where it is, but out of the main gate. Right next to us, a three-wheeler came around another corner, somehow completely flipped over, was completely banged up, and the passenger, I hope they lived, that's all I can say. But their head was split open. Now, here's our car, and they were like, it's right there, by the window. And you realize the Guru's protection. He doesn't ask much. You realize the Guru's protection. That could have hit us, that could have flipped on us. Who knows? But we just, we pulled over and I told Rinkesh to go back. That was Rinkesh driving me alone, that's what I told him to go back and see if he could help. We take a lot for granted. Don't assume. Get magnetic yourself. Focus your energy, focus your mind. Be in the right company. That will help you to go spiritually in the right direction. And here's another incident that happened in, this is more hilarious than anything, in the Bay Area. I went to Berkeley to do a satsang there while I was in the US, California. And I had 3 of the young people. There's a Future of Ananda group there. They're all like in their 20s and early 30s. I just love those people. I mean, I was with them quite a lot when I was there at Ananda Village. So I had 3 of them with me going to do the Berkeley satsang 2 weeks ago on Sunday. So we left at 6:45. It's like a 3.5 hour drive. So we stopped at the Starbucks, my favorite place. We had a chai. Everywhere I went, I ordered chai. They were ordering coffee. I said, I ordered chai. I like chai. So anyways, so there we were, and we were just talking in the car, as you do. And so then my friend who was driving, Darshana, she's about 22 or whatever, she says, oh my God. I said, well, what happened? She says, there's a cop behind us, he's going to pull us over. I said, why? I said, were you going too fast or something? She says, I don't know, maybe so. So the police officer pulls us over, and she says, she's just shaking. This has never happened to me before. And she pulls her wallet out, and she gets her driver's license, and then so the cop comes up, and here's the freeway traffic one. So he comes to my side of the car. So I just kept looking at those pictures on the dash. I think everybody was praying. I mean, a ticket like that in the U.S. could be $400 or $500, not rupees. It hits you, and it hits you hard. Plus, it goes on your record. Then you have to do service. I mean, it just goes on and on. So, I just was looking at the altar, and so the police officer comes, and he I rolled the window, and I said, is there some problem, officer? A nice young guy. And he just starts shouting, he's not at me, he starts shouting at the driver, do you know how fast you were going? I clocked you in a 75, I was going, he just couldn't walk. He just went on and on. And And then you have these beautiful faces of these young kids in the car, they're like, naive, new on the path and young and just glowing with light. And after a while he just, he couldn't say anything more, And then he said, just go on. He was so mad, but how can he give us a ticket? We just look so, I don't know what the word is, but we're going to the church. I just loved it. He just was so mad. And he just says, I could really get us a ticket. He said, just get out of here. And my friends and I, they were like, just so centered and clear, just beautiful energy. And I thought he just couldn't do it. There was just too much joy. There's too much light coming out of the car. And that's the right satsang. If there had been another carload of people who didn't have that, maybe they would have given them tickets, you don't know. But the thing is, you keep in the right company, you can tell. I was with a friend once, last time in Berkeley. And I was meeting with her for dinner. That's one of my college buddies. And at a certain point, I just thought, I should not be here. It's the wrong company. Her topics were getting worse and worse. It was more on, the shamanism and, all these different things. And I was like, whoa, I drank this liquid and something happened, and my eyes were getting bigger and bigger. I could just hear Master saying, why are you there? You shouldn't be there. And this year I didn't look her up. You have to be careful with who you're with. And on the other side of that, another beautiful story was, some of you know Bharat. Some of you here, well, Bharat's appendix burst, like 2 weeks ago. He's one of the Kriyacharyas, actually, a long time Ananda person. But the beauty of the story is that immediately he was scooped up by, all the gurubhais, taken to emergency room, and then around the clock, he was in the hospital for a week. There wasn't 1 minute when a gurubhai wasn't there. Not 1 minute. Why? To support him. A nurse, a doctor, oh my God, the gurubhais are saying, you're doing good, you look great, Master's with you, Swamiji's here, we're here, let's pray together. Not 1 minute in the whole week that he was alone. That's what spiritual family is about. Isn't that just so touched me. And I went there and spent time with him too. And then he got back, within a couple of hours, he was walking on the streets of Ananda. He had the right satsang. It healed him. Keep in good company. And if you have to go on the other side, pick it up. Go on the other side to balance it out. I remember Jamal told this story, which shocked me. I'll end with this. And we were given a class in Mumbai. It was on success, I think, healing. So he told this story. I just couldn't believe he said this. But he said it was about company. He went to visit his family, his father, and I don't know who, brothers, I don't know who all was there. And he said that he, the first few days he was meditating well. I understand. I'm just coming back off of this. I was on that plane for I don't know how many hours, and your meditation definitely is not good. And you come back and your aura hasn't arrived yet, and you're just not, you're not meditating well. You're not in your right mind, really. So anyway, he was with his family, and first days he was fine. Then he said after, 2 or 3 days, it, went down, the time and the focus. And how that kept, and the vacation people go on, that's what happens. So he was there, and he said one day he got up and he said, I don't need to meditate. Jamal. This was years back. It wasn't now, it wasn't since he was in India, it was years back. And, that's what happens, just creeps in. I can just walk out in the forest. I just think of something else, because I don't need to meditate. So because of the vibrations of his house, what he did was, instead of meditating, he went and just sat on the couch, and there was a big screen, TV screen there, and he turns it on, and he sat there for 12 hours. From the audience, I shouted out, 12 hours! I just couldn't believe it. He said that he sat there for 12 hours watching television? A devotee? Granted, maybe he wasn't since he's been in India, but you see, it just sucks you right in. And you think, I'm fine. It could be anything. It could be TV, it could be drinking, it could be bad thoughts, it could be negativity, it could be low energy, it could be sleeping for 50 hours. Like I told the guys, I took Devendra, I said, I didn't have any jet lag, I just slept for 12 hours. But you can just, whatever it is, you find you just get sucked in. You have to be aware and focus your energy and not give in to things that are pulling you down. He said the last hour, he just went and got a pint of ice cream and just finished it off with the ice cream. And he just said afterwards, he was like a limp rag. This is what happens. I would say to close, be aware of your company, be aware of your energy, where it is. Keep your sadhana solid, ironclad, strong. And then, if one time comes, like you can't get it all in or whatever, you'll still be fine. Remember this last story was Rajasi. I just love this. He was, he went into samadhi in 3 years with Master's practices, 3 years. Master and Rajasi would walk along the grass, walk on the lawn, and Encinitas holding hands. They had become one. He just loved him so much. And anyway, Rajasi, he was Master's most advanced disciple. One day, he used to always see light, and one day it was just completely dark. And that went on for some time. Just darkness, nothing up, no more light, just darkness. And then one day, he was able to see in the darkness just a speck of light. Imagine, all black, and just, he just kept trying. And he saw just a speck of light. So he said, well, if that's all I have, at least it's something. He meditated on that light. Sometimes it's like that in our life, no? It's all darkness, health reasons, financial reasons, but you see that speck of light, that's Guruji. And he said that as he continued his meditations, this was over some time, it wasn't one meditation, he said the light increased, and then it got bigger. It got bigger each time, then it got bigger. Then it got bigger, and then the face of Swami Sri Jaswarji came out of the light and said, all is well now. And Master came, and Babaji came, all the gurus came on, that speck of light that got bigger and bigger. You can't give up. You just can't give up. Everybody has their own tests just waiting for them. I remember when Acharya said was, your karma will run after you and find you. You can't run away and hide. It will run after you. But if you keep solidly focused, God, Guru. That's why I wanted to play that chant today. I listen to the chants. I have chants. I'm happy to give new ones. Not new, but I brought it from Anandana talks. I'm happy to give you some. I listen to Swamiji every day. like Gaurav. Gaurav knows everything on every talk. He's heard all the talks, that's why I brought him some more. But if you even 5 minutes, Swamiji, he'll just talk to you. It's exactly what you need. 5 minutes, Swamiji singing. 5 minutes, Master's voice. Seems simple, and I think we make it hard.